Founded in 1878, Rangiora is now the largest town in the Waimakariri district. It's 20 minutes north of Christchurch. Rangiora is a town with a strong sense of community and a population that is growing rapidly. Enterprise North Canterbury was established in 2002 as a not-for-profit trust by the Waimakariri and Hurunui district councils.
We're the local economic development agency for North Canterbury, set up 12 years ago by the two district councils. So we're a council-controlled organisation, but we are a separate board of volunteers within the two councils. So we have the two mayors, the two chief executives, and 6 volunteers who look out for the betterment of businesses in North Canterbury.
Enterprise North Canterbury is a trusted business support agency established to make doing business in North Canterbury easier and to provide an environment where new businesses want to be.
North Canterbury is a progressive region for businesses to do well. There are a lot of loyal supporters and businesses, good businesses in North Canterbury. To name a few, big companies like Hellas, who've been here for well over 20 years, just celebrated their 20 years. Continental are about to celebrate 50 years, and Rangiora Bakery the same. Employing around 600 people between them, offering many skill ranges of jobs. They also invested around $40 million alone in plant and buildings because they're growing, and this is how the district is moving ahead with growth of the prosperity of these businesses. Enterprise North Canterbury has 3 core activities that we're involved in. One is, of course, business support agencies. So we're here to support local businesses to grow and to retain them in the district. The second we do, our activities are around promoting the district to visitors to come visit and to businesses to set up here. And the third is also around breaking down any barriers for businesses to do business. So therefore we're working in the broadband space because we believe that broadband is going to increase profitability and productivity of businesses because we're going to be able to access the world through better broadband. So with business development, we enhance the business capability of businesses. So that's the managers and owners of the business. So we do training workshops and coaching. We connect them to the right support that they need at the right time. We run business awards, as we discussed before, and we celebrate their success. We also connect them with Business Mentors New Zealand, research and development, and we run 3 times a year business networking functions so they can actually connect with each other and learn from each other with keynote speakers. There is no Chamber of Commerce out in North Canterbury, so I guess we fill that space where we are supporting businesses. We actually don't have a membership that all businesses can be part of what we do.
As North Canterbury Economic Development Agency, ENC, supports businesses by providing access to advice, guidance and training.
Enterprise North Canterbury runs 40 training workshops a year. We have over 180 businesses come along to those workshops. We also offer coaching after the workshop so that they can actually get the one-on-one development interpersonal. In a workshop it's more 1-on-30, coaching is one-on-one, and so they can actually delve into their own issues and opportunities.
A shared vision of the Council and Enterprise North Canterbury resulted in the Waimakariri Local Economic Development Strategy, which guides activities and programs of the Waimakariri District Council and ENC that promote local economic development.
So we'll see an opportunity where the businesses need support, and it's usually with a cluster of businesses. We find that we can work better with a cluster as well as individually. We look at initiating a project with the businesses, alongside of the businesses. We facilitate that project happens, and we access and assess money gain money to put into the project from government agencies or other funders, and then the project has to get its own legs, and so that's where at that point we liberate it. Enterprise North Canterbury is a very small organisation of 5 FTEs, so we cannot run and hold on to projects. We stimulate and we facilitate and then we liberate projects, and that's for the betterment of sustainable projects and businesses.
Businesses in the Waimakariri district benefit from a sound and well-established foundation of business support through Enterprise North Canterbury.
Enterprise North Canterbury is tasked with marketing the district to visitors and to businesses. After the earthquake, we had some businesses move out here as to other areas outside of Christchurch, feeling it was safer out here, and a lot of the workforce are actually working out here. We have around 10,500 people commute to Christchurch from the Waimakariri district daily, and we'd prefer that they work locally. So therefore it's our role as the Economic Development Agency to enable an environment and promote this area to businesses to set up here. So we think this is why where businesses belong in the Waimakariri district. And the reason we believe this is there's abundant land and space and affordability. There's an abundant workforce.
The Waimakariri district is home to a large and growing skilled labour force, and recent surveys show that almost 75% of those who work outside the area would prefer to work locally if suitable work was available. It is predicted the local labour force will increase substantially over the next decade, and with the close proximity of Rangiora to Christchurch, many businesses servicing the city could be located in North Canterbury.
And we're trying very hard to make our two town centres places where people want to be and can sit around enjoying themselves. And in Kaiapoi, part of that is to enhance the riverbanks, and that's the Kaiapoi River going through the centre of that town is certainly an asset to Kaiapoi. Well, I think that we are a very mixed community, so we've got beach settlements and we've got a strong rural sector. We're certainly interested in water issues for irrigation and for water quality issues that are important around our district. So there's quite a lot. There's a lot going on, and I like to think that Waimakariri is a bit of a microcosm of Canterbury, really. We've had the earthquake damage, we've had the red zoning, we've got the rebuilding going on, we've also got the dairy growth, and we've got all the commuter issues. So it's been an interesting time the last 4 years.
A significant project for the Rangiora Township is the refurbished and strengthening of the Town Hall, a project that should be completed by early 2015.
That's both to meet the new, more stringent earthquake code, but also to completely upgrade the existing facility and expand it. So the auditorium there will be given the right backstage facilities to host events with audience of 300-400. There's another theatre to go in, seating about 150. There are a couple of boutique cinemas going in, and there's now a confirmed operator for those cinemas. So there was a cinema facility in the old town hall. This is bigger and better. That will also be possible in the 150-seat venue as well. So people in the district will have that facility back, better and brighter, and also with the extended rebuild of commercial accommodation in the town centre, the people from town can drive out, have dinner, go to the movies. They'll see movies of the quality that they would see in town and at the same time, and have an enjoyable alternate experience than going down the road in the city. So that's pretty good news. There's music practice facilities, so that venue has a real multi-purpose flavour to it, ability to do meetings and small conferences, host civic events and such like. So that's a good anchor for the western end of the town centre.
A number of Rangiora's displaced high street stores were relocated by the council in 2012 into a temporary shopping zone.
I guess it did so because the choice for the council and the community was, with businesses displaced from closed accommodation, they're either going to have to move away from the district or some of those businesses face closure. So temporary accommodation on the front lawn here of the District Council building. Obviously that's not a permanent fixture, but we're now in a situation where committed rebuilds over in High Street are going to provide accommodation in the next year or so for those businesses to move into permanent digs. So that's good news, and we can kind of return the street to what it's supposed to be doing. And then also we'll be working on a complete upgrade of the High Street public space, the pavements and the street furniture, and really representing the town centre to both the district community and the wider community of Greater Christchurch to come on out and enjoy what we've got to offer here.
The Junction Hotel, or Robbie's as many know it as, is a heritage building in High Street.
It's got an interesting history because it was actually damaged in an earthquake in 1922, and the facade fell off and a new facade was constructed. However, that building now has the facade has come away from the rest of the building, so it's been cordoned off for the last couple of years. What's happening with it is the facade is being retained and it's being strengthened, shotcreting behind it to retain that, and there's some heritage grant money going into that. The property owner has been very positive towards that. So that keeps that scale and look and feel to the town centre. Behind is being demolished and there'll be a new building built behind that. So in the same sort of scale. So what we'll see is a preserved facade, and to all intent and purposes you wouldn't know behind it will be a modern building, and that just helps retain some of the character that has really been taken a hit in terms of the earthquake impact on High Street.
With population in the Waimakariri close to 50,000, the district is growing rapidly.
In 2013 we were up 200% over our normal level of new home consenting, and we probably peaked, but we've seen new housing opportunities open up in Pegasus and Rangiora, in Kaiapoi, and rural residential development, and now starting around the Wood End area. So that's been both an opportunity that people have taken, displaced as a result of the earthquakes from Christchurch, people in the district needing accommodation, but it's also been a challenge for the District Council in terms of its consenting processes, and our team has worked pretty hard to keep all of that inside the required timeframes, and have done a great job in that regard. As I say, I think we've peaked, but still up on our historic levels, and that brings demand for and confidence to commercial centres like Rangiora, because the catchment is growing, and that encourages businesses who wouldn't perhaps have otherwise considered locating here to actually commit to Rangiora, so that's good.
If you're looking to set up your business or relocate to the Waimakariri district, contact Enterprise North Canterbury at 03 310 6860. Each week I'll be bringing you an update on the development of Silverstream, and I'll be talking to the partner companies who are working hard on making the Silverstream vision a reality.
When we've developed this, there is a certain level of reserve space that we need to give back to council, and you need to provide certain level of amenity for your community. What we've done here is worked off the stream, as we spoke about earlier, and actually looked at this whole community space. When we finish that, we have to maintain it and make sure that it's in pristine condition. After a certain amount of years, council then take over, and then it's part of the normal maintenance that the district council would then look after.
And as far as new trees and things are concerned, I guess the council will monitor that and do that as well.
Yeah, and as part of the maintenance, again, the trees we need to actually keep watered and pruned and make sure it's at a certain height and certain condition before it's handed over. And then once council get hold of it, really Mother Nature takes care of it anyway, but it's council's responsibility to then look after it from that point of handover onwards. And again, one of the most important things here is the amount of amenity that's provided. You don't really need to have that perhaps in your backyard. You've actually got all of this, but somebody else is looking after it for you, which is a wonderful thing in today's age where everyone's so busy. They want all of the wonderful things that you enjoy out in the parks and the walks and cycleways and exercise stations and all of that, but you don't necessarily want to look after it, and that's what we've got here.
Tell me about the retail area, because that's a passion of yours, but it's the heart of the industry.
Yes, well, heart is the right word, because it is going to be the heart of this community. It'll be the centre point, the meeting place where people can meet and socialise together. Our vision's always been to have a convenience centre for the community, and also not just to have one or two shops that just do anything, but we're being really particular about the mix of shops and the quality of the people that will occupy those shops.
How do you get to your ratio for number of shops and types of shops for a community?
It's always it's case particular. In this instance, we have 15 shops, which we think will provide the necessary balance of tenancies, or the mix of tenancies for this community. We have, if you like, all your basic food types. Then we have personal services, chemist, hairdresser. When I say we have, this is our planning. We have some of these tenancies already, and we are still putting in place others. Hopefully we'll have a gym, a medical centre, and some other basic retail needs. So the whole point is to provide everyday convenience shopping and to provide an environment that people will want to come to.
Tell me about your team, because you've got a pretty close-knit team.
Well, we're very fortunate that we have a large in-house design team. So what that means is that we're not outsourcing our home designs to external people that perhaps don't have an understanding of the build industry. So when we're designing our homes, we're designing them with functionality in mind, and also with and one eye, I suppose, on how the most cost-effective ways to build that house might be. So that again allows us to deliver really nice homes at an affordable price. So we've got a great design team, we've got a massive project management team. So what that means is, again, we keep our relationships very simple. When you're buying a home from Mike Greer, we don't just get you to sign on the piece of paper and disappear. For example, I stay with you as your main point of contact right up until the point where we start the build. And behind me are the designers, the people that manage it through the council, our colour consultants, and all the other suppliers and resources we have to help you kind of personalise it and get to a house that you like. But once we get that build consent and we start the build, we hand you over to a construction manager, and he or she travels with you through the duration of the build. So it's a really nice relationship. There's not lots of different people being involved. It's just two key contacts.
Because of the silver stream running through the site, or the head of the Kaiapoi River, we had to meet really high water quality standards for the runoff from the subdivision. So the environmental impact was something we had to manage very carefully, and we worked well with a lot of other partners to make sure all the runoff was appropriately collected and treated, and we had 2 and 3 stage stormwater treatment systems, because the silver stream itself is spring fed, so very high water quality, and we wanted to make sure there was no adverse effects on that stream. So although you can only see the ponds above ground, there's a lot of infrastructure buried to make sure that water quality is appropriately managed. Well, the job was complex. I think we talked about the earthworks, but there were also 2 other aspects. We had to build a bypass road around the subdivision, but also we had to underground 66 kVA lines. So that's not something you have to do every day, so there's a lot of consultation with Transpower, Mainpower and other service providers to make sure we could find a path to get rid of those overhead lines. So a lot of different parties involved, and a lot of money at stake there to get rid of the adverse visual effects of the pylons. So Fred and John have really put a lot of effort into making sure that could happen. There were a lot of complexities and a lot of issues to address in a very short time frame, so I meant sort of all hands on deck, and the relationship with ECAN and Waimak was brilliant to make sure that could happen.
We've got quite a bit of expertise in the heavy civil, and we try and bring that through to our clients, like John and H Investments. We did the structure, we did the small little bridge on stage 1, and we put that in record time. I can't remember how long it took, but I think it was about 4 weeks before the Prime Minister needed to walk over it, and there was no bridge. And it helps when you've got skill and experience in the wings in your own company, that you can just push the button and say, come on lads, let's get going.
Your philosophy as a company?
Easy, serving one another, serving your clients, your mates, your colleagues. That is in the ethos of Bruce Pullman. That's his underlying principles. He wants to make sure that everybody is serving one another, and you'll see it across all of our information, all of our publications, and it's not just words. Our guys are pretty unique. Everybody's out there to help each other, and clients like that. If you go to a client and if a client comes to you and says, I've got a problem, rather than try and make a buck out of it, we try and find a solution, because at the end of the day it is about the relationship. So it's that's, I suppose, the uniqueness about HEBS. One of the reasons I work for HEBS is the fact you've got that core culture and common purpose, shall we say. Everything else changes. It's a dynamic environment in which we work, but that sort of core why we are doesn't change.